Well, greetings, everybody. Welcome to MBTV News, our weekly look at interesting stuff concerning virtual worlds and immersive spaces online. I can't avoid that M word, but we'll cope with that when it comes. Nobody knows what it is anyway. The verse, so to speak. Anyway, my name is Mal Burns. Mal is one name, Burns is the other name. But on Twitter and just about everywhere else on the web, they tend to want to squash you. I don't know whether you noticed this, but wherever you go on the web, if they got your name, and they squash it for you. You know, I mean, it's bad enough being squashed. It's like being treated as a lemming, isn't it, or something? Anyway, squashed I be when you go to Twitter, twitter.com/MALBURNS. You can also go to twitter.com/MetaWorldNews. And again, those two words have been squashed together. They just don't like spaces, which is ironic, really, because we're dealing with spatial computing. But nobody's thought of that, have they? Kill the spaces in spaces. Never mind. Right, okay, so we look at a bit of news here, there, and everywhere. Sitting next to me here is my colleague James Atlloud. Welcome, James.
Well, thank you, Mal. Glad to be here. And looks like I have voice off, so no lips moving for me.
Okay, well, no problem. They're not moving for me either.
Yeah.
Not as anybody can tell because I've got my mask on.
Yep.
I had my new COVID shots during the week.
Ah.
And I was telling them, sort of, well, look at me, I'm a good boy. I've been wearing my mask endlessly for the last 2.5 years or whatever it is. I'm about the only one that does, even in crowded places. Very strange. Well, there are a few others you see. Yeah. Anyway, that's totally irrelevant, except for the fact my avatar is wearing a mask. And I'm not even going to tell you where I got the mask. That's another story. Okay. Yeah, James is, of course, mixing all our video, audio, and everything together, basically brightening up the broadcast. So instead of just getting a talking avatar head, you get to see my desktop and images and various other things too, and noisy stuff now and again too. Right, so let's get going. I've got up on screen, and therefore James will probably have on screen. The website we almost always start with, actually. This is the October 3rd, which is, yeah, that was Monday. The XR Wheat Peak, it's Tony Patillo's regular roundup, and, well, he's called the Scarlet Ghost. That's the name he likes to go by. Yes, sound effects galore. And, yeah. So this is his roundup. So it's not really this week gone by for us. It's the week before that. But he's got a few things in there. New headgear, and even Meta's headgear, and Lenovo headgear. Anything other than headgear here? VR Air Bridge brings wireless streaming to the Quest headgear. It's all headgear this week, isn't it? Pico 4 launches in China, new info shared in the West, blah blah. The Nreal Air, which I still can't get in the UK, is now on sale in the US, but if you want it in the UK, you've got to sign up to, well, you've got to sign up to an ISP. Which is mobile ISP. Having an account with them is the only way you can actually get it. So that's a rough thing, especially as I bought an adapter for it. Right. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. So that's Tony Patillo's roundup there. Find it at scaredghost.com, SKARREDGHOST.com. And now I can get moving the other way. Of course, everything is in the wrong order this week. Well, not really, but there we are. Okay, this week in XR. Right, this would have been. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm at the wrong end of the spectrum. Well, it doesn't really matter, actually. Okay, this is Charlie Fink's roundup of this last week. That's the real last week. This came out a couple of days ago. You'll find it at Forbes.com, Forbes.com. Looking at SideQuest, getting loads of money from Google Ventures and others. And, oh God, Suzuki bloke again. Um, oh, well, looks like that picture. That's actually is Philip Rosedale, who founded Second Life, or co-founded, and that is Brad Oberweger, who's the current CEO of Linden Labs. Um, that's actually from something else for quite a few weeks ago. I don't know what he's doing there, but he's obviously stuck it in. Um, Circuit breaker NFT experience. Well, he covers NFTs to a certain extent, so it doesn't seem to be much here this week, to be honest. But NFTs and stuff are a bit off my radar when there's so much more exciting things happening on the creative front, really. Right, moving up, VentureBeat. This is VentureBeat.com. And editorial here. Why building the metaverse is going to be a thrilling ride. Gosh, golly, what? Thrilling read. Yeah. Anyway, yes, apparently, according to this person, the metaverse is set to disrupt our lives and its development should not be taken lightly. No, definitely shouldn't. Anyway, that's the key takeaway of a panel discussion, apparently moderated by GameSpeed. And yeah, this week they also had another event called the Meta Beast, but there's not really any video or anything really being published online from it. So it just sort of happened and seemed to have been fairly low key. Anyway, they're talking about coming together on Metaverse Standards, the Kronos Group, of course, the new Metaverse Standards Forum. And of course, the Lamina people have launched the new one now. I'm going to yeah, Neil Trevett, of course, was I think we do have a copy of that talk somewhere, talking about universal scene description and open formats. Here we are. I'm going to jump down the list to another link here. All right. This is the site of another new organisation, although it's been launched by Lamina One, which of course is Neil Stevenson and Tony Parisi and there's other people. And it's advertised here, as you can see. I haven't got the reader view on for this, which is deliberate because it's not legible otherwise. And basically, they're starting an open metaverse conference for 2 days, in-person event, pioneering visions for the open metaverse, interoperability, and everything else like that. They want to discuss how blockchain can help the metaverse develop on a more level playing field. And we've been talking about this, and I think the discussion needs to be held without assuming blockchain is part of it. The thing with, of course, is with Lamina One, blockchain is very much part of their thing. Though in fact, we've spoken to them, and they've actually kind of realised now that, they did say that. Tony Parisi did say that it will be removed, from Lamina One. They're just like the first sponsors to get it off the ground. It won't be there to promote Lamina One. However, listed some of the speakers lined up, but slight correction here I have to point out, I'm obligated to point out really, is that this and all the other postings of this so far, it's all over the place, actually claim the OMI group, which I'm part of actually, sort of, there's no boss there, it's just a group of working groups. And I check it on the week every week. Well, they had a debate this week and the week before about whether one should partner with this organisation, and the theory was that we should be known as participants, but we're not in any way official partners, financially or otherwise. So this is sort of a mistake. Really, it should be, participating organisations rather than official partners. But they were very generous. They just said, "Oh, we'll give you that, and we'll give you tickets for however many people you want to send along," which is all very generous. But of course, sort of devs and things like that do tend to be a bit suspicious at times. It's sort of, are they getting mileage out of saying we're partners or whatever? But I think they're okay. I mean, Tony's decent. Neil Stevenson himself, from what I've heard of him, speaking seems to be okay. Peter Vicens is the other co-founder of Lamina One. Kathy Hackey is everywhere. Too much so, really. Philip Rosedale, of course, uh, he's definitely not Lamina One. But he's keen on talking open source these days. We'll see. And there's Neil Stevenson himself. So you can find out more about this. There's not, other than what I'm showing you here, there's not much yet, but I'm sure they'll have more if you want to subscribe or whatever. You want to go to openmetaverseconf.com. So it's OpenMetaversecon.com. So it's Open Metaverse and then conf instead of conference. And everything is squashed, of course, except for the dot between com. Oh dear, what am I on about? Right, okay, let's get to the top. I'll just remove that word. Okay. Oh yeah, well, okay. I twisted this because it gave me an excuse to be rude. My tweet actually reads, Zuckerberg sets for meta disconnect. And quality issues with his VR product. In 2 days' time, the MetaNet Connect conference will be going on, and there's not much to say there. No doubt, Zuckerberg will take the stage and announce things, but he's cutting back on everything. Who knows? Who knows what the empire formerly known as Facebook are up to? Moving on from that one, I think, as I said, there's not too much important there. The thrilling ride, we did that. We've had that. We've had our thrilling ride, thank you, and we've had that too. Let me get back on track. Here we are. Here's a new one. This is lessons for journalists from virtual worlds. And the site you want is an easy one here. Well, it's CJR. That's the 3 letters. CJR.org. O-R-G. And it's it's actually a big, long look at this sort of stuff. Really, it features Animal Crossings and things, and COVID bringing people in to work online, and mentions CNN and Voices years ago coming into Second Life, experimenting with VR. So given this reality, how should journalists write about them or even use them in the present? And if you, I think you have a lot to read here, even if you are not a journalist per se, even if you just do a blog or anything else to do with virtual worlds and stuff like that. It's you're reporting one way or another on things, and so there's a lot in here for you. And it's they've got Sensar here. No, they're back to Alphaville Herald. Oh, that's a long while ago. And they were going to game journalism a little bit too, but technically they're talking about virtual worlds here, not games. And as you can see, I'm scrolling. I've got to stop because it looks like I'm 10% of the way down. And my finger's getting sore at 10%. So if you like a good read, you're going to find it here. CJR.org is the one you want for that. And if you're looking for full links and can't find anything on home pages, do check out my Twitter feed. As I said, twitter.com/Mal Burns. And you'll find all these links and more published there. But more importantly, if you follow the click through from my Twitter feed, you'll always end up at the right page for the right article. Some links just take you to home pages, which is far from helpful sometimes. Okay, moving down to the next bit of whatever. Top Metaverse Halloween experience to explore this month. Well, we had to go with this, didn't we? Second Life particularly celebrates Halloween from the 1st of October, if not before. They certainly can't be bothered to wait till Halloween. But this is just really a roundup. They actually have a look at some in Second Life here. They don't, as far as I remember, have anything on OpenSim. But they got some stuff from Roblox there. and Multiverse, which is an Oculus app. Um, and where we Horizon Worlds, that's another Oculus. Oh, that's Meta's thing, isn't it? Oh yeah, there's another thing I haven't got here. I don't think I've got it anyway. Um, in my continuing, obligation to report on the vagaries of the organisation called Meta, I was supposed to find out in the week that they also have another virtual world whose name I can't quite remember. I think they bought it from somewhere or whatever. And anyway, you can now take your avatar from, I think it's Horizons, into this other virtual world, which they own. Yeah. And apparently, this is proving to the world that Meta are working hard on open interoperability. So you can take your avatar between two of their own places. Gosh golly. Now, if you could take your Meta avatar to Second Life even, or Roblox or whatever, they might be onto something. But you don't just start a new virtual world to prove that you can jump your avatar between them. We all want to see that, but not. It's like having the north and south of a continent that's a walled garden. Anyway, never mind. Moving on. Oh yeah, sorry, this post, by the way, if you want to refer to it and find out where to go to these lovely things, it's imetameta.com. It says IMETMETA. So, Imet Meta. I met Meta. That's the way of thinking about it. Okay, all squashed together, of course, but where were you without squashing? Okay, moving on down. I have to say moving on down, you see, because well, this is a bit of a problem. I'm going to take a quick diversion just to entertain you folks out there. We've got a short show today, so I can do this. You see, I'm moving on down because I don't want to be accused of moving on up. Moving on Up is a wonderful track by a band called M People. And way back when, here in the UK, even Tony Blair, he's not conservative, by the way, used this at one point in time. Well, anyway, without permission, somebody called Liz Trust has used it. And the band are livid. The last person they will want to be using their song without permission is the woman we now call the Prime Minister. She's definitely prime something, but I'm not quite sure what. Anyway, also this week, right, it was pointed out to the Conservative Party, there we go, there she is, that blue is their colour, although she tends to wear red rather than blue, as you can see. But they always stand, with their colour thing. But the problem with giving a keynote presentation when you're standing on a stage which is painted entirely blue is it's a ready-made blue screen for people to do things with that you don't want them to do. Moving on up.
Expected that one, I suppose. Here comes Liz Truss, getting Britain moving. Moving on up. Let's have a listen.
My friends, it's great to be with you here in Birmingham. It's fantastic to see the cranes across the skyline building new buildings, the busy trams coursing down the streets, and the bull standing proudly at the heart of Birmingham.
Well, there you go. I had to share that, didn't we? interesting that oh, there's something else relevant. Oh yes, that she wasn't too far into her speech when she was disrupted by green activists who certainly looked like Tory women, but somehow they managed to get in there, and they they interrupted her by putting this placard up and holding it between them. And the security people rushed in and physically manhandled them to get them out. And Liz Truss was on stage saying, "Get them out, get them out, get them out," which they did, and it is rather rough handling. And the telling thing was their lanyards or whatever were torn off their necks furiously as they were carted out. And they just had it was a Greenpeace logo, but they said, who voted for this? Because, of course, she was being elected, if that's the word, by members of the Conservative Party. And I mean members of the party, not even Conservative voters. So, indeed, who did it? Who did it? Okay, on to our stuff now. A couple of other videos I've got here. This one is Discover More in Spatial. This would be Spatial I/O if I got my spatials right.
Here we go now.
Well, very pretty and all that. So, a virtual world where people have legs. This is interesting. They're called Spatial. Spatial. You can go into your Meta helmet. You can go to them on the web. You can download an app on the App Store and download one on Google Play. So, plenty of ways to get into Spatial, so to speak. So, there you go. You can have legs too. Right, now this finally, this is what I came up across in the week, and I immediately went online to see if I could find the company Geo. I sort of found them, but it was whether it was the same Geo, I don't know. I didn't really see any reference to these glasses. They're coming along these days, the Nreal Light I was busy hunting around with myself, but this seems to be on a similar track, though. Given that I can't find any other information about it, one wonders if it's... Well, I don't think it's a spoof. I think it's just an out of the blue... It may be a promo video that's come out early by mistake or something. But anyway, have a look.
The Geo True 5G powered Geo Glass truly transforms your life. Right from the moment you wake up. To doing your morning fitness routine. From how you get your daily updates to how you multitask on the go. From how you collaborate with your colleagues to how you stay connected with your family while you're at it. From revolutionizing the way you and your loved ones shop as your favorite stores come home, to how your kids experience learning in a way that is not just fun, but interactive and immersive. From how you can learn along with gamers from around the world. To how you can take on gamers at home. And most importantly, how you spend quality time with yourself.
Okay, found the right. I'm trying to find a point there where I could pause it because just to say something. When you see a photo of these lying on the ground, you think, "Oh, great, new form factor glasses and everything else like that." And I presume the bump near the ears there is like bone conduction audio or something like that. But the thing that bothered me a little bit is in all the people in this thing, they're wearing the glasses and they all seem to wear them quite high up on the bridge of the nose. They don't look like they're, if that was my nose, they'd be, they wouldn't be facing downwards, but I would tend to want to wear them lower. And also, when we see them being worn in a video like this, you realise that much as the photograph on the table makes them look like a pair of ordinary glasses, they're actually, I don't know how heavy they are, but, they wouldn't put me off necessarily. Helmets put me off, but these wouldn't. But they still do look rather bigger than, as well as, not balancing on the nose quite right. They seem to be slightly awkward and bigger than I would expect. But anyway, let's watch the end of that.
Without getting in the way of your loved one's sleep.
Delta. So, true 5G. I don't know whether that is referring to the bandwidth speed, like you get a 5G type mobile or whatever, or whether it's resolution or whatever. It makes it all look wonderfully good, but it doesn't really tell you too much about it. But who knows? It's great to see lots more new sort of things coming along. So anyway, I'm back on the. I've got one little piece to show us at the end there on video. We'll go out with it. Okay, back to the regular feeds. Newest version of something called Synergy XR unlocks iOS, which of course is Apple's mobile operating system. And iOS actually is, strictly speaking, these days it's the iPhone. The watch has a different operating system. The iPad has a Pad OS now, so it's basically it's the phone operating system there. Synergy themselves are a growing no-code enterprise XR platform. And basically you dive into a new version and explore the corporate metaverse, how it can be built to benefit all industries, and you can do it all from your iPhone or your iPad probably too, and anything that works with iPhone will almost invariably work with any other Apple system, although the display may be slightly different. Right, XR to the people. And they're happy to double down on that mantra by making it easier to get started with Synergy XR. Yes. And check out the demos. Yes, you can get a free 30-day virtual journey that lets you discover vast opportunities. Gosh golly. This is PR, essentially, but why not? It could be very interesting for those of you in, wanting to develop projects for corporate type metaverse or whatever. They're another one of these companies that are obviously quite keen on using the word metaverse, though they don't really. They describe it as the corporate metaverse, but they still don't explain to the general user what the metaverse is. Yeah. As do many not do that. Right. Oh, God, what was going on there? Okay, well... I went from page to page. Here we are. Q&A with 8XR, powerful metaverse graphic web engine. Now, if you're interested in authoring, as in Unity, Unreal Engine, and such like, you might be interested in 8XR. It's not actually new. Well, it's quite new. It's a UK-based startup, and it's been branded as the most powerful graphic web engine on the market. And their CEO here is Mark Korshankov, definitely not a UK-based name. And he's telling them about the company, how it started and why the metaverse is about to change, etc., etc. and profusely illustrated, well, not profusely, but illustrated with examples of the platform. You'll find this at arvrmagazine.com, arvrmagazine.com. And oh, I should have pointed out that last one is at the VRARA.com, THEVRARA.com. That's the VR and AR Association, in case you wondered about the strangeness of that one. Right, moving on down here. Not moving on up in my case. Right, Spatial Beats. This is a new weekly column from Charlie Fink, and it comes out earlier in the week from, well, it is a difference of days, but I tend to think of the one at Forbes is just shortly, you know, a day or two before this show. Spatial Beats is coming out earlier. This is not at Forbes, of course. It's at another site called arinsider.co, ARINSIDER.co. And he's looking at Lenovo, Enreal again, and oh yes, of course, Walmart have managed to find their way into something they're calling the metaverse. Again, not fully explaining it to anybody. It's just a really good catchphrase for something new to get involved in, isn't it? You know, Walmart indeed, Jimmy. What are we coming to? Okay. Talking about Enreal there in America, Lenovo's new headset. Now, distributed. Oh no, we had it several weeks ago. Games not shopping in the Walmart metaverse. Yeah, Walmart have chosen to go to Roblox. It's a very interesting thing here these days. I mean, some companies are actually launching their own so-called metaverse, not knowing what it is. Other companies, and especially a big one like Walmart, it's odd that they're actually going to Roblox, so they don't have to worry about what the metaverse is. They're probably assuming Roblox will take care of that for them. But they're all hiring design firms and stuff like that. And Walmart Land and Walmart's Universe of Play. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, it sounds like they're very definitely pointing at the less than adult market, I think, that seems to be what they're going for there. Okay. Anyway, that's the kind of roundup, although it's obviously fairly current. And yeah, we started with this because I was moving on down, not moving the other way. Right. ARinsider.co. Okay, they're just saying that Magic Leap that can't avoid, for years we've been hearing about Magic Leap, and it was so secretive nobody knew what it was. That's not the case now. And they've got Magic Leap 2, but it still costs you $3,300 and that's its starting price, by the way. I think you can pay more for various things. Anyway, it's a sort of hands-on kind of review, and they say Magic Leap's second act begins. So you can find this at arinsider.com, ARINSIDER.co. And moving on down. Right, approaching the metaverse from an ethical standpoint, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Indeed. Right, oh, this is advertising a live webinar, which hasn't happened yet. So I have to always be careful here. I keep finding mentions of online things and then realizing, oh, that happened midweek. I'm a bit late for this show. Anyway, it's just telling you about a webinar that's happening on the ethical implications of the metaverse. So you find this at AIXR, that's 4 letters, .org. Moving on down, I'm taking longer than I thought, but never mind. Vibella, I like Vibella, although it's not very graphically very interesting. It's actually getting a lot better. It's got that cartoony film, but it's so quick and easy to use for corporate style meetings and things. And there's a web version as well as a download version, so it's easy, and the guy who runs it is nice, and half of their staff are former Second Life people, which is interesting. Don't play up the connection at all. It's just when you go there, oh, I know you from you know where. Anyway, they're talking about private campuses now, and you can customize the various things they've already built or build your own, etc., etc. There's the sort of typical avatar you get in there. But they're very good at having, stages with this kind of avatar. They can squeeze an awful lot of avatars into their auditoriums. They're not that highly detailed, but what do you expect? But they're very good at presenting stages and things with, interactive, screens, showing video and interactive things too. So mixing stuff up. They've got a Black History library and they've got a Mind Gym. Those are two of the things they're heavily promoting at the moment. So you'll find this at virbela.com. It's just a sort of roundup. VIRBELA.com. And I remove that one. The Beauty Metaverse is here. Are you ready to play? This is a site called culturewhisper.com. CULTUREWHISPER.com. Nice name, that, Culture Whisper. Don't know, it appeals to me anyway. The metaverse is blurring the lines between digital and physical. Here's how to join the fun and games of the beauty metaverse. Metaverse. They do explain where metaverse comes from for the average punter, Snow Crash. It's all fairly old school, and they seem to be focusing here largely on Fortnite as opposed to Roblox. If their descriptions sound like a different language, it's because there are elements of this world that are brand new. That's a fair enough point. Okay, and they try to explain NFTs. They talk about Decentraland as well, and some interesting other things I'm not really familiar with. But they're very pretty much specific to their sort of fashion and beauty thing here. Who's in there? Estee Lauder at Decentraland, for example, Gucci and Givenchy are in Roblox, Clinique is somewhere, Metaverse more like us, whatever. Anyway, if you're into fashion and beauty and all that stuff and how it's going to play with you in virtuality and whatever, this is a good place to check it out. So the website there is called culturewhisper.com. And moving down, this is the last of our main links. Okay. European businesses ramp up metaverse preparation as curiosity takes hold. Not really anything new here, really. Europe's as much in touch with all this as America or Korea or any other country, really. But this is actually, from a business perspective, and it's talking about European business in particular. I see, these days I don't even know whether Britain, which is where I am, is in Europe. Well, we're not in Europe, but we are when it comes to people writing articles, Yeah, it's the island off the west end of Europe, isn't it? So, who knows? UK and France, you see, positioning ourselves together, but one of us is Europe, one of us ain't. It's very odd, all this. But Madame Truss, is all trussed up and ready to go. Because she is moving on. Yeah, never mind. Right. So European Business Review is the site I picked that one up from. So there's a handful for you. I think I'm going to let you. It's all one word. European Business Review.com. I'm not going to read out every letter of that because otherwise we'll be going over time. Okay, so I will remove that item from my list and I'll move down. One other thing. This is a YouTube link. And that's not very helpful. Well, you'll be able to find it in my Twitter feed. It's called Virtual Art Exhibits, Art Worlds in VR Chat. And I know, James, you use VR Chat a fair old bit, don't you?
Yep.
This is a sort of roundup of different worlds, basically, which I thought was interesting.
No, there's some great worlds in VR Chat.
Yeah, I should actually have downloaded this, but it's it's 90 minutes long, so it's not something I could rebroadcast. But I kind of like this, the idea. Anything that covers arts and destination, you know, in any old world is good for me. So if it's a 90-minute film and it's pretty good. Right, okay. So we get to the final page now, which is or this is my feed at Mastodon. You can find it at mastodon dot social, and then slash, and then the @ symbol Metaworld. And all these posts do get automatically sent to my Twitter stream. So as long as you follow me on Twitter, it doesn't really matter whether you look at this here or not. But if you do follow the links, they will bring you here, and from here you can either click to go through to YouTube, or you can actually play them in situ here, like I'm doing just now. This one literally was just a few hours ago. Well, it's probably last night my time. But it's F Reality Podcast. Haven't been one of those for a couple of weeks, but it looks like they're back now. This is episode 209. They look at a Quest 3 leak, which Quest being the Zuckerberg helmet, and well, it sounds like the others are probably games, but anyway, so it's 2 hours 10 minutes. So if you want something, you know, to have playing in the background, and you know, sort of perk your ears up when it covers something interesting, or maybe you're into the games and stuff too, and it's a nicely put together podcast. You can also edit out a bit at the beginning because there's a long lead time before, you know, they've set the stream up, but they haven't started the broadcast. Other films, these were taken from the XR Virtual Reality Conference in Portugal. We showed one last week. There've been a couple of new ones now. This is about cooperation and collaboration as key to the metaverse future. Okay, yeah, I'll be here all day trying to find out. I should have made a note of this when I posted it, exactly who they're interviewing there. But it's only 10 minutes, so easy to watch. Another one is talking about how the metaverse must have open standards. That's actually the HTC Vive people. I think that woman is the boss of HTC. And then one of our favourites, of course, this week. Managed to find it later in the week, oddly enough. But did you watch this, James?
Yeah, I did. You know, a lot of the standard coverage, but I thought the most interesting story, and I didn't see it in your news feed, was Google providing $12 million to SideQuest, which is an alternative app store for the Meta headset. So I thought that was very exciting, and I hopefully, you know, SideQuest would then possibly be able to expand to other headsets, and so I think this looks like a big push from Google to kind of get in the software side of virtual worlds.
Nice. Okay, that's funny. Yeah, you're right. That had come across my radar. I hadn't quite realised the importance of it because, well, I don't have a helmet, so I don't use SideQuest
probably
anyway. You know?
Explains a lot right there. Yep.
Yeah. I thought I did have a post. I think you'll find on my Twitter feed there's a post about that, but it's not one I included on the show. Yep. Yeah, but always a good talk there, actually, sort of talking about the average.
Yeah, I enjoy the personalities of the hosts.
Yes, you do, don't they? They got quite formal at the start now, which is nice. They tell them, I'm here and he's there and we do this and we do that and whatever. It's sort of like an intro rather than just straight in dive, which is probably useful.
Well, and I love how they capture the essence of, cooperating online. And, you're in London, I'm in Wisconsin in the United States, and we do that every weekend. Yep.
Indeed we do. Okay. All right, the next one here is the Mixed Realities podcast.
And Mal, do we need to worry about time?
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're on 1:45, aren't we? Right, yep. We'll be okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, F Reality podcast before that, a day ago. Charlie Fink's video version, this week in XR's podcast there. Between Realities, they've got the co-founder of Mind VR there. And How to Build a Metaverse Part 3. This is like the Wall Street or giving us a living history, audio only this one, of the so-called metaverse. But in fact, it's 3 episodes so far, all being about history and through Second Life. It was opened, the whole series, that at the beginning, but now they're looking at the period when SL was Second Life was beginning to appeal to corporations and stuff, although it didn't get that far really. Brief history of the metaverse from D yourself metaverse. Again, this is an audio. Mark Pesky talking to Tony Parisi, who of course is with Lamina, but well, founder of VRML and everything else, really. Talking another brief history of the metaverse. Everybody's talking about it, at least, these days. And 5 days ago, taking refuge in the virtual world, this has Bronwyn Williams and Edward Castronova. I haven't heard from him for quite a while.
No,
that's
no.
back on video. They're having a chat there. And then Meta Minutes by Tony Parisi. This actually is not 6 days ago for me, but I found this show called Meta Minutes, which I'm going to be following from now on. I don't know how regular they're going to be, but this was an interesting one, talking to Tony Parisi. If I remember, this one's relatively short. Oh no, yeah, well, it's a 30-minute show by the look of it. And talking of chats, we have one with the Scar Ghost. Do we want a sound effect? Not really, do we? Maybe we do. Yeah. Okay, so the very show I've just been talking about there, Meta Minutes, started off their season 2 with a chat with Tony Patillo, the Scar Ghost. And that's, yes, it is half an hour there to, well, it's 25 minutes there, actually. And, don't know what that is, but I think we're at the end of that list. I think we is. Right, okay. So, anything else to point out, James? We're at the end of our hoo-ha.
No, I think we've covered it.
Okay. So we'll be on air in this channel again in about 10 minutes, in fact, with, well, we'll probably be a bit late with our in-world review. I've stuck on time here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to play us out with that rather very pretty video I had earlier, and then I'll get James to just run up titles immediately after that. So 1.5 minutes of nice pretty stuff to take you out here. We'll be back at the same time, same place next week. Hope you've enjoyed the news. It's goodbye from me, goodbye from James, and yeah, keep safe, and enjoy these wonderful experiences that you can only find online. And it's a wrap.